Sam has a question on Twitch. Here's a question. Do you have any general rule of thumb when it comes to mixing and or editing vocals? Okay. Yes. There are some fantastic basics when it comes to recording vocals, kind of going, kind of touching a little bit on James Beard, what he was talking about. One of the biggest problems when let's talk about like recording vocals for a second before we get to mixing them, is that you don't want a whole lot of your room, if you like, unless you're in a really nicely acoustically treated space, you're not going to want a whole lot of that room echo, that room sound, that slap back, like coming into your microphone, because it's gonna, once you start compressing that signal, you start bringing out all the noise that's underneath just the direct voice. So like if I like, really, this microphone isn't just picking up what's in front of me or what's in front of it, it's actually kind of picking up everything around here. You just don't hear it. It's because my compressor isn't set super aggressive. But once you start putting vocals into music, you got to make sure that it's compressed well enough that it always stays out front, right? If you record in a bad space, then you're going to get all that little bits of echo, and it's going to sound a little more distant than you probably want it to. Also, when it comes to editing vocals, I would say that you just have to have a light touch. You have to have really good editing theory, knowing exactly where to slice, and having really good crossfades where it's not interfering with any syllables, it's not interfering with any of like the little in between things, and that when you play it back, it still sounds like a smooth vocal take. Vocals are arguably like the most, if not or one of the most, if not the most pieces of a mix, because they're the thing that everyone, the average listener, is going to be relating to. So what you're going to want is no distractions in that. It's one of the reasons why people fought tuning so much, because the tuning software was so harsh and it just sounded rough. And we kind of got used to it now, and now we use it in creative ways. But the idea that you can have this like nice constant stream of vocal sound without any like weird hiccups in it. So editing vocals, just make sure that everything sounds super smooth. And also, a lot of people like to like chop in and like get rid of little breaths and things like that, like before a vocal take. Sometimes you want a little bit of that in there, like a little bit of those in-betweens, but what you can do is like just knock them down, because they don't need to be da 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 da. You might just want to cut in and then just knock that little piece down, but not totally remove it, because then it sounds kind of unnatural. And if you're doing pop music, sure, unnatural and processed might be a good way to go. But if you're kind of capturing someone's actual performance, you may want to keep those sounds in there, but just make sure that the clip gain is down on those, and then crossfade in between. Mixing vocals, also making sure that you have adequate space in your instrumental sonically for the vocals to sit. Vocals sit anywhere from their main resonance is anywhere from like 800 to 1200 hertz, right? So things like guitars and pianos and all these melodic instruments are going to be taking up a lot of space in that range. And what you'll want to do is maybe use clever bits of EQ, use clever bits of dynamic EQ, also called multiband compression, so that you can make some space in your mix so that those vocals don't have to sit so much higher than everything else, and they'll just kind of like blend well with it.